Yeah, so I think I don't have to introduce the two guys sitting next to me now. Um, Muzaka and Zeschuk from BioWare. Um, you here at GDC talked about Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
It's now 10 years that the game came out. So, what do you think is the main difference of making games back then and making games right now?
There's a lot of similarities and there's also a lot of differences, but some of the similarities are you got to have people who are passionate about what they do. You have to have people that are willing to work collaboratively, that are willing to really put aside their egos and be humble and let the best idea rule, and kind of willing to iterate for the sake of quality for the audience. Some of the things that are different are just the size of teams, or depending on the type of game. Obviously, there's some teams that are very large, and there's some teams that are very small, making downloadable content or social games can be still very small. But there's also very big teams too, and business models are different. A lot of more digital distribution, a lot more online connectivity, and a lot more software as a service kind of features. So those things are new and different, but really they're the core of the game, of making something that's just you get passionate and excited about, and just really creating an emotionally engaging experience. That's still the same.
All right. Classic seems to be very trendy right now. Think of the revamp of the Monkey Island series. Nintendo is redoing Donkey Kong and all the side-scrolling games right now. So would you think it's possible to make a Baldur's Gate Reloaded with improved graphics?
We would love to see the possibility of something like Baldur's Gate Reloaded, like redoing it. But as I mentioned during the talk, there's a lot of complex business issues around it, because it's one of those games that we created it, but the license was held by Interplay. But that's changed hands a couple times, and now maybe Atari and Hasbro, who owns Wizards of the Coast, are involved with the license. So I think it could happen. Whether we would do it, that's really no way of saying. But as players, I would love to see it. I know I would love to re-experience all those old, that old adventures with new graphics. That'd be pretty exciting.
I would definitely play it. So if you just have the chance to do it, please do it. You announced that BioWare is working on a small-scale MMO besides Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So can we expect to see more smaller projects like that in the future from BioWare, or are you still focusing on AAA titles?
I think really both. I mean, we recognize that fans want a mix of different kinds of content. Sometimes we'll do big projects, sometimes we'll do smaller add-ons for those big projects, sometimes we'll do smaller kinds of projects that are standalone. And across our group now, we have around 800 folks working at 4 locations, plus a new location in Ireland. It's more of a CS center for Austin, so Austin and Edmonton and Montreal and Virginia. And we have great people working on a whole range of different things at all those locations. They're tied together by some common principles, and Greg mentioned in the talk about combat and exploration and progression, customization and story and characters. So all of our games have that in different measures, different ways. And really, I hope that all the games are seen as high quality by our fans, whether they're big or small. But we like making different things. We think it's really fun for our fans. It's really fun for all the great people we work with every day. And it's nice to have a portfolio that's diverse and allows us to make kind of a range of different products.
Yeah. You also talked a lot about going to new platforms recently. On that new platforms, are you trying out new genres as well, or will you stick with the RPG genre?
We actually, our feeling is that we typically like to make games that focus on story primarily and have elements of story in them. So genre is a little less of a tight fit for us in the sense that we believe, you look at the case of Mass Effect 2, you could make the case that it's like, shooter FPS plus story-based game. I mean, the amount of RPG in there is still there, but we've kind of turned it on its head to a certain degree. So I think for us, we like to explore the platforms, but in particular, we like to stick with our strength, which is great stories and characters, and trying them on those places. Mm-hmm. It's something we're going to do a lot of. I think we don't want to be in a position where we feel like we're obsolete or not with the times. I think you're seeing players playing games differently, playing them in different locations and in different ways. It's very, very important to stay up to date with that and understand what's happening, and then when you see that opportunity, seizing it and making a great game that suits the platform, but also holds those BioWare values true to heart.
Okay. And one last question we ask everybody today is, if the gods of gaming granted you the wish to create the game you've always dreamt of, no matter what technology is ever needed, what kind of game would that be?
Well, I think we're working on it. I mean, that's the great thing about our job now is we, as part of EA, we really have the world is our oyster. We get to make pretty much anything that we want to make. We try and make sure it has commercial value, that it's going to have a potential audience, the fans are going to like it, it's going to sell, it's going to make profit. But with that aside, we try and do things that our teams are passionate about, that we're passionate about, that are going to advance the art of video games, and we're working on that across our group. So it's really, we're blessed, I think, just to be able to make all these great games like Mass Effect, future products in that franchise, and Dragon Age 2, and Star Wars The Old Republic, and cool stuff coming out of BioWare Mythic, and across the board, everything we're doing is pretty exciting to us. I think, I wouldn't change anything, really, and I think our best work is still ahead of us.
I would like to see a big mustache and beard simulation, like Barber game. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, actually,
Barber RPG.
I would argue the character creation process in our games really does enable that.
You can in Dragon Age. We actually. I remember the comments.
Facial hair in Star Wars: The Old Republic is pretty advanced.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good too. You're right. But I remember particularly in Dragon Age, we said we were always really impressed with like the braided beards and stuff. That was awesome.
I think that was more you.
Yeah. But no, we try to include that element in all our games. But like Ray said, I think we look at the things we're doing, and we're always we always are striving to make them better. And it's very exciting. Like I think if I could ask for a feature, I'd have better pathfinding. But that's just me. But I like micro things.
Yeah, we're always working on that. We're always trying to improve.
Yeah, a little bit.
And we're only as good as our next game, so we're definitely trying to innovate and make things better for our fans in the future. And I'm confident we'll do that.
Great, sounds awesome.
Right, thank you.
Thank you a lot
Thanks.
for being here.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
have a lot of fun here at GDC.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.